Sorry about that, everybody. My SD card filled up. I had to go unload all these pictures in the last video and get those off the SD card. But it reminded me of some things that I wanted to talk about. I was talking about videos last, and yeah, I was able to just drag and drop some videos onto this thing and have them play. I really hate iTunes. I'm not a fan of iTunes, never have been. And so finally being able to be unshackled from iTunes is really one of the biggest advantages for me personally for this phone. And a lot of people are comfortable with iTunes. It's kind of a safe zone for them, but I just have always hated it. So having access to the SD card and the file system just really helped set this phone apart for me. But actually having to go unload the SD card and watch the last video reminded me of a couple things. I know that on this video with the video capture, it really makes the LCD screen look a little bit washed out, and I want you to know that this screen looks absolutely incredible. 4.3 inches diagonal across. It looks amazing. I don't know if you can really tell an iPhone comparison, but really they're pretty comparable. I wouldn't say one looks any better than the other. Pixel density, I mean, the resolution isn't as high on this one. Resolution's higher on this one, but it's spread out a little bit more. I would say pixel density looks about the same, probably a little better on this one. And either way, they both just look incredible. And I know a lot of people will make comparisons between this device and the HTC Incredible on Verizon, because that one has an AMOLED screen. And you know, the thing with LCD screens or any screen in general, if you put them side by side, you're going to see one come out on top as being better than the other. But in reality, on its own, that's really how you're going to be looking at it, and this screen looks just amazing. I'm really happy with it. What else was I going to talk about with this thing? Thinking here, sorry guys. You know, little senseisms like the leap view, being able to jump to whatever, you know, screen you want. That's always nice. One of the things that really annoyed me was I was happy to try using double twist. Double twist is kind of the de facto standard for mobile devices. It's like iTunes for everything else, essentially. And it works just like iTunes, looks like iTunes. One of the things that was a bummer about this device specifically is the way double twist works is if you have any videos or anything, you can drag videos from the iTunes or the double twist program down to your device, and it'll automatically convert them to the proper format. This was a problem for me because this device can handle higher resolution videos than any other Android device can. It's got the HDMI port on it for outputting 720p to a high-def TV, and because of that, like I said, it can handle higher resolution videos than the regular Android phone can. Fortunately, when I dragged a file to this device to put it on in double twist converted it to a size of I think 480 by 320 or something like that, and it just didn't look that good on this device. And if I go to, I actually have it in here, to gallery, I did some personal conversion of some DVDs that I had, and so I can get actually good quality out of them. Huh. Should have tested that first. This is supposed to be super bad, but it doesn't seem to be working so well. No video on that. My other one does. That's a DVD rip of Wall-E, I believe. What else about this device? One thing that really bugged me about it, one of the things I do on my iPhone all the time is, I mentioned this in the forums on Fandroid one day, I play a lot of solitaire on my device. And really the size of the iPhone is perfect. I mean, I barely have to move my thumb to get around, you know, to play card games on this. And this thing, it's so big that it's really hard to play cards with just one hand. I almost gotta hold it with one and then use my index finger, but trying to do it with one hand, I'm swiping my thumb across the screen in such a long distance that my wrist is getting sore. But I've only had this phone for a day, so we'll see if I adjust to that at all. Not sure what else I really had to say about this device. I knew there were things on my mind, but really this is just a comparison for coming from an iPhone user onto this device. And again, I'm not your atypical iPhone user. I really have not enjoyed being an iPhone user. I don't like being restricted. I really prefer open platforms, and in that regard, I couldn't be happier with this device, and I'm really happy to be moving on. One thing to notice, like I said, besides that crack in my screen, there is not a single scratch on this device, on the screen anyway. I mean, it's glass. It's using it for 2.5 years, and if you look at the body of this thing, I mean, there's dings and scratches, and I've beaten the crap out of this phone. And the screen, still pristine and perfect. This thing, I haven't tested it, obviously. I would not want to stress test my brand new phone. But from what people were telling me, this phone, it's not like Gorilla Glass or anything like that on top of this thing. It's a little bit more fragile, and it can get scratching put in your pocket with keys and stuff. So I actually ordered Ghost Armor the other night. I'm going to be putting that on as soon as it gets here this next week to keep this screen and around the device safe and unscratched. And that's one area in which, coming from an iPhone, I really didn't care what I did with that device because I really didn't feel like I could break it. This, I feel like it might be a little more fragile. And again, I'm not gonna test that theory. As you can see, I do have a case on it. I don't know, it's like the Platinum or something like that. I got it at Best Buy when I picked this thing up. And one thing that I did like about it is it gets the back of the phone up off of the camera lens. The way this thing is designed, if you lay it on its back, it rests directly on the camera lens, and that's going to result in your camera lens getting very scratched up if you're not careful. So, as much as I hate having cases on my phones, or any device for that matter, I felt it was kind of necessary in this case because of the way they designed that. And that's the HTC Evo overall. Like I said, I love this live wallpaper. I just love the way it looks. It looks great. Anyone else who's got an Android device that supports live wallpapers, I recommend this one. I think it looks wonderful. And other than that, this isn't the most thorough review. Read some other reviews to get a good feel for this device if you're interested. But from one iPhone user to whoever else may be watching, I absolutely love this phone. Thanks for watching.